A very good morning to you and welcome to Signature Morning. My name is Godwin Sunday. The president's speech has raised a lot of smoke everywhere across the country. First from the political class and then to the Nigerian youth. Every part of the country, industries have got to also share a particular detail from the president's speech. But has this speech been satisfactory so far? Let's look at the matters that are arising from the president's speech, independent speech so far. And this morning I'm being joined by Alhaji Albal Kaka, who is a public Kaka. Alba Kaka, who is a public affairs analyst, and he will be talking to us this morning about the matters arising from the president's speech. You're welcome to Signature Morning, Alhaji Alba Kaka.
Morning. Thank you for having me.
All right, so let's delve into this conversation. What do you make of the president's speech in general?
Thank you very much. First, I would like to say happy Independence anniversary to all Nigerians. And second, I would like to commiserate with those who have been affected by the floods in Maiduguri, Niger, Kebbi, Kano, Sokoto, and the rest. Coming back to your question, actually, the president's speech, brought a lot of mixed reactions. Obviously, as the president of the country and the commander-in-chief, as the father of the nation, he will always want to talk about the positive aspects of what his administration has achieved over the last 1.5 years or so. But the reactions from some Nigerians is that, number one, the issue of the ways and means that they say they have cleared. Some of the economic experts are now arguing that it was actually restructured and it was not entirely wiped out, as the president said in the speech. So I'm not an economist, but that is for them to now explain to us. But if it's something that is structured over the next 40 years, it means that our children are left with the burden of making the payments. So the ways and means that the Buhari administration actually messed up on that, and so many other things, is one aspect of the speech that did not go down well with a lot of Nigerians.
Thank you, Alba Kaka, on that particular response. But then let's talk about security. The president in his speech said that we are winning the war against insurgency, the war against banditry, and the war against Boko Haram, with about 300 commanders of the Boko Haram and bandits being arrested and killed by the troops of the Nigerian army. But let's look at this. In reality, are we actually winning the war against insurgency in the country?
Well, actually, recently from the actions of the Nigerian army, you will actually commend them for going after the bandits. But I wonder what took them so long to get to that point. And as we speak, the banditry is especially in the north and the northwest and north central is really alarming. And the military is obviously overstretched, but the Nigerian military that I know that went to Liberia and fought, went to Sierra Leone and fought, and they were decorated by the United Nations. It's not the same Nigerian military that cannot fight local banditry. These are ragtags in uniform and with some AK-47 and others. But the problem is there is some kind of connivance between some of the bandits and some of our security men and women, because I just cannot understand with the current technologies all over Nigeria and the Tucano aircraft that we purchased from the United States, that some local bandits in the bush, are still, as if they're, in control of, Nigeria. They're actually in control of some parts of the Nigeria. But very, very unfortunate and sad. Actually, before I just came to your studio, there was a lady that works for us at our estate, at the estate office, was actually kidnapped here in Abuja and spent 5 months with the bandits. So I just left the hospital where she is. She's an Igbo lady. Her name is Anita. And I asked her what was, as an investigator, I was asking her what was going on, what happened, all these 5 months they were in the bush. And she said the Nigerian military helicopters usually come and, go up, round and round, and then nothing happens. They go back. They were praying as if they came to rescue them, but in vain. So I don't understand with the, technologies that we have, with even the mobile, tracking system that we have with the police and the, military and SSS and others. I just can't understand that the banditry is still on, and the only explanation is corruption. That some of the, security men and women are actually actively part of it. That is why it refused to happen. But recently, for whatever reason, when you have your Minister of Defense himself was being accused by a sitting bandit in the bush, that they are collaborating with him, and the sitting Zamfara State Governor himself also came out, Dauda Lawan, and made the same statement. So in a rational and sane society, if the minister refuses to vacate office for a proper investigation to take place, the president should, fire him and let the investigation continue. The military said they are investigating. But why are you investigating your minister when he's still in office? That means he can hinder the outcome and progress of the investigation.
Justice system.
Exactly. So the Minister of Defense, Matawali, needs to step aside for a proper investigation to take place.
All right, Abakaka, before we even go further to delve into other conversations, even from the president's speech, we'll go for this short break and we'll be back shortly. Please stay with us. Welcome back, and just in case you're just joining us, this is still Signature Morning on Signature TV with Alhaji Abakaka, and we are talking about matters arising from the president's speech. But then we are talking about the security concerns of Nigeria from that speech and about winning the war. Let's even narrow that conversation back to the Federal Capital Territory. Do you think at this point people within the Federal Capital Territory can say for sure that we are safe in terms of security, the mandatory wall? Before we go to other part of the north, let's use Abuja as a case study. Can we say comfortably that Abuja is safe as it stands right now?
Well, actually, compared to other parts of the country, you can say relatively Abuja is probably safe. But that doesn't mean that kidnappings don't take place. Kidnappings take place every day. Sometimes they tell you it's better you don't even know what is going on, so you can sleep, compared to if you know it. So, security should be the best, responsibility of government is to protect lives and properties of citizens. And unfortunately, the issue of security is a very, very messy situation right now.
All right, so let's move away from security concerns from that speech. Let's talk about the economic policy of the president, which you've rightly mentioned before now, the way and tears of the. But then it is alleged that Nigeria is doing well right now economically. The president has been able to put tools and modalities to help revamp the economy. But unfortunately, it's as if most Nigerians are not seeing it from that light. Do you agree with the submission by Mr. President on the economic policies and blueprints so far been put in place?
Well, you see, the issue is this. Once you have reforms, those kind of reforms are by itself very, very painful. And before the president obviously came on board, actually the country is broke. 8 years of Buhari administration has almost destroyed the economy. And he took those bold and courageous decisions from the beginning, so it's so painful, but it should have been a gradual, phase by phase or milestone by milestone. I would have preferred it to be like that, but he has already taken the bold step on day one that subsidy is gone, and after that the exchange rate was allowed to float, let the market forces determine. But the danger with the issues of the IMF itself is that they don't mean well for Nigeria. IMF and World Bank policies are always designed to control you and suck out your resources than to help you. Since the 1986 Babangida Structural Adjustment Program, tell me one policy that has worked, that was subscribed by the World Bank. They keep telling you devalue your currency, they keep telling you this and that, but they don't work. They don't work. Look at China. Look at the Asian tigers. Their success has nothing to do with IMF or World Bank policies at all. But we Africans are always jumping on the ship of the World Bank and the IMF. Those policies are not designed for us to succeed, and it should have been so obvious in the last 20, 30 years. But our policymakers, for whatever reason, they keep on implementing something that doesn't work.
All right, so at this point, we've also heard the president's speech, but one thing also was at least lacking to a certain extent on that speech, and that is the issue surrounding Nigerians' unity, even in our diversification. We hope that the president would have been able to address some form of creative program that will best unify us, but we didn't see any of those being rolled out just the way we have it being rolled out in the previous administration. Do you think at this point that particular part of that speech, there was no wide range of consultation among political class, as why matters of unity at this point was not carefully spelled out, even and programs being aligned in this area?
Well, actually, Nigeria is, as I said, at a crossroads now. And the issue of unity is very, very important because people are losing hope in the country. That's why you see this Japa syndrome. That's why you see this protests by youngsters and others who don't see hope. All they see is our political class, enmesh in corruption. The kind of corruption that is happening in this country is mind-boggling, and people are pretending that it should be normal. No, it's not normal, and it's never going to be normal. You understand? So people out there, especially youngsters, they don't see any future. They don't see any hope. They don't see any light at the end of the tunnel. They all see problems, and they see, that brings disunity. So the president should have, as you rightly pointed out, should have made more emphasis on uniting the country. But with the kind of economy we have, inflation at 34%, you understand, cost of foreign exchange itself, the dollar is like 1,700 and something right now to the naira, which has never happened before. and the insecurity that we have, and the economic meltdown itself, and the policies of these reforms. Reforms takes time. At the way we are going, thank God the Dangote refinery is on stream now, and maybe you give about 4 or 5 years down the road, the pressure on the FX is going to drop, because about 30 to 40% of our FX actually is used to import petroleum products. So with Dangote's coming on stream, that chunk of money will be released to other things. So, money that we don't have also. Look at, we're always taking loans. This week or so, $1.57 billion was approved by the World Bank. Another loan on the portfolios of what we have. And when you check the CBN website, just last week or 2 weeks ago, 5.1 billion interest was paid on the loan. So you are paying 1.5 billion interest to the World Bank and the IMF, and then you are begging them to borrow you 1.2 or 1.5 billion dollars. I'm not an economist, but does it make any sense? So something is wrong somewhere.
Something is fundamentally wrong somewhere. Let's look at the issue around the president's speech again. Within the area of the recognition of national awards being meted on some certain individuals, ranging from the Senate President through to the Speaker. We saw all of those meritorious awards will be given out later in the course of this year. With the timing of Nigeria as it stands right now, should we be talking about awards? Should the conversations be built around giving awards? Or rather, we should be talking something else in terms of recognition of hard work in the country?
Obviously, the timing is absolutely wrong. And with the crisis of people cannot feed their families, you are giving awards to no politician deserve any award in this country as we speak. So that topic should have been off the table. What is it that they did, especially those that they gave the awards to deserve?
The Grand Commander of the Order of the Niger?
Doesn't make sense, because, we are going through a crisis of hunger. People are dying daily in this country. And you are giving out awards for killing Nigerians? What is it award for? Especially those politicians that they gave the award to, they don't deserve it at all. Absolutely was a big mistake.
So we shouldn't be talking about recognizing hard work even within the.
We should be recognizing hard work.
Because most of the office of the Senate President, for example, it's a very highly esteemed office in the country, and I think given that the recognizing it and saying that we're going to give him the award for the Grand Commander of the Order of the Niger, that is GCON is something to go home with. So don't you think so?
The office of the Senate President, which is number 3 seat in the country, but look at the person occupying it. Let's call a spade a spade. The person occupying that office, first, as far as I'm concerned, may I tell you the truth. You like it, you take it. You don't like it, no problem. He does not deserve to be in that office, let alone be given a national award of GCON. Look at his track record. Look at what he did in the Ministry of Niger Delta, as well as the state of Akwa Ibom. Does he really deserve to be given a national award of GCON, which is normally given to presidents? And those who, there are so many hard-working Nigerians who are working hard in this country. This is like a political patronage, is what they're doing. Political patronage to give awards to people who don't deserve it at the wrong time. This is not even the time to be talking about awards at all. Just like the independence anniversary was low-keyed for a reason. That I commend, because it should be of low key. There's nothing for us to celebrate, really, actually.
All right. So let's talk even as we celebrate Nigeria at 64. Across board right now, even as we celebrate as a federation, across the country, people are still calling for some form of a regional government. That there should be some form of regionalism. I think this has always been an agitation from different quarters of the country. But then, what's your take on regionalism as it stands right now, even as we celebrate Nigeria at 64?
We have, obviously the system we are practicing, the presidential system, is very, very expensive, and we don't have the money to maintain it. That's why there's so many fallouts. There's so many areas that need the attention of government and no funds, because the little funds we have, we are paying politicians 10 million to 12 million naira a month, which they don't deserve. You understand? And now you are talking about, because people are fed up with the system and the political class that we have. So I personally will recommend the parliamentary system of government, where it's cost effective, where you come to the parliament, then the president or the prime minister in this case will be selected among those who have elected. In the First Republic, we saw it. We saw the tremendous work our forefathers did. And this crop of politicians that we have today are just not worth it. Honestly speaking, they are not worth it. Not all of them, there are good ones inside, but majority of them, there's nothing to write home about.
All right, so let's even look at the issue around even still within Nigeria. We've had a lot of issues at the borders on the young people of Nigeria. The president have come out to say that he's going to have a 30 days conference with them for them to air their views and also bring whatever they have to the table. But this look again like an aristocratic government, where it's going to be a selected few representatives that the president will talk to. Looking at all of these indices right now, and the fact that we've not gotten it right, even with Confab, is there light at the end of the tunnel for young people, even with the proposed 30-day conference with the president?
Well, I don't know. I also doubt it, but the thing is this: we all know what our problems are, but are we willing to address them? Are we really willing to address them? Are we really sincere about addressing them? Every home in Nigeria you go, you will see a graduate who has left school and served the country, NYSC, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years down the road. There's no work. We know why there's no work, because the political system, the political class, and government officials are busy stealing the money. So we have to have the political will to fight corruption. That's why I always call for strengthening of the EFCC and the ICPC and the police to really have the strength that they need. Let double their operatives or even triple their operatives. These monies are being stolen by few individuals. We know who they are. The EFCC is going after some of them. So because of political patronage, look at the case of this Yahaya Bello. Very embarrassing. Instead of the Kogi people to come out and demand from the EFCC to arrest him and bring back their money, they are being paid to protest against the EFCC. What kind of mentality? Something is wrong with the head of Nigerians, especially those who are even stealing and those who are protesting to protect them. The EFCC needs to be strengthened. ICPC needs to be strengthened, seriously. And I'm actually calling on the president to send an executive bill to the National Assembly to make sure that corruption is punishable by death. which is what you find in China. And look at China. Every Nigerian wants to buy something, they go to China. There's a reason for that, because we are not punishing those who are stealing the money. And Yahya Bello, the stunt that he did at the office of the car park of the EFCC doesn't make any sense. If you are smart, you'll understand. 2 days after that issue, excuse me, he was supposed to present himself in the court.
All right, so at this point, Alba Kaka will go for a short break, and when we come back, we will continue with the conversation. Please go. And welcome back, and just in case you're just joining us, this is still Signature Morning, and we're talking about having an overview of the president's speech on the Independence Day speech, if you like to use that word. And let's come back to you, Alba. Looking at regional commission, we talked about the fact that we have to have checks and balances, but we've had a lot of regional commission, from the southeast and northeast commission now to the Niger Delta commission. A lot of these regional commissions, they're not doing a lot in terms of even development in the states, in their regions. Don't you think that this will also affect the regional development of our country if we go by regional government?
Absolutely. The Niger Delta Development Commission actually is like, a center of corruption, very unfortunately. And that was the first commission in Nigeria that was meant to address the youth restiveness in the Niger Delta, and they have failed to do that. After that came the Northeast Development Commission. That I know for a fact, that they are actually on ground and they are working, and they are very, very transparent, because the management are so committed and transparent that you cannot even believe this is another commission in Nigeria. But because of political expediency and patronage, and other, like Northwest Development Commission was set up, again, and North Central, Northeast, Southeast. All these were not needed if we are doing the right thing at the state level. Everybody is blaming the federal government on doing this and doing that. Most of these monies are going to the states, to the subnationals. What are the governors? We need to hold our governors responsible. We have to ask our local government chairmen, we have to call them to order and hold them responsible for the money that they will be receiving from this month, because of the amendment to pay them directly. So the state governors are also to be held accountable as to what are they doing with the money. We should not be blaming only the President Tinubu, who came and actually inherited a rot, a big rot for that matter, and he's trying to do his best to get us out of it under the circumstances he found himself. But the president needs to have the political will to fight corruption.
So speaking of political will, this independence speech so far by the president, looking at Nigerian bilateral relationship with other countries, would this further open the frontiers and open the doors for Nigerians to do business with other countries? Would confidence be reposed in Nigeria, looking at what the president has reeled out as part of his plan? Do you think that investors will want to buy into this narrative by Mr. President coming into the country to do business?
Well, I certainly hope so. But the reality on ground that I see, that you see, and the investors also see, is that if there's no justice or equity, you understand, or the political will, to do the right thing, any investors would not want to put their money in Nigeria. But they go around to small countries like Niger, Gabon, Angola, even Ghana, and they invest because the system itself, does it protect the investment? That's the question that we're asking. Do we have enough laws to protect investments? You understand? When I graduated in the late 80s, you understand, I wanted to be the first to bring McDonald's to Nigeria from the US. You know what they told me when I went to the headquarters? They said, Nigeria doesn't have the legal framework or enough for them to trust for their franchise to be in Nigeria. That was then. How about now?
As way back as...
As way back as 1989 or thereabout at that time, you know. Because I'm a businessman, I was thinking this could have been a good investment, a business move. But they refused to come, even though it's the biggest black nation on earth by population-wise, and it's a very, very big market. But they say we don't have the legal framework to protect them from doing business. So investors are always anxious to see if they invest, can they take their money out at any time they want? Is their money protected? Is the country really serious about business? These are the things that investors look at. You know, so I don't blame them. I hope they bring their money and invest, you know. But the reality of the matter is that, you know, hard-earned money, people take decisions, you know, on their own terms.
Interesting. But just lastly, or before we let you go, let's talk about Nigeria's relationship with the Middle East right now. What do you make of our relationship so far, especially what's going on in the Middle East of Africa?
What is going on in the Middle East is very, very unfortunate, sad, and dangerous right now. Nigeria should cut off all diplomatic relations with the state of Israel because of the murderous prime minister that they have. Look at how many people he has killed. Obviously, I also condemn what Hamas did on October 7. But what caused it was the state of Israel was grabbing land for the past 75 years. You come and grab my land, you kill my father, you kill my mother, you kill my brothers and sisters. You expect me to respect you? No, I will go after you too and kill you if I can get you. You understand? So that is what is happening. Right now, the war has been expanded. Yesterday, Iran launched over 200 ballistic missiles into the state of Israel because Israel they wanted to expand the war and bring in the United States into it. And the United States, whether they like it or not, they have been now dragged into it. And this is a mad prime minister that you have, lunatic prime minister that you have. Killing is what he does. And do they have peace? No. They don't have peace for the past 75 years. And I don't see any peace in the next 75 years because there's no fairness, no justice, no equity. You grab somebody's land, expand, tomorrow you grab it and expand. And the reality, as I saw Professor Bolaji Akinyemi this morning on one of the sister stations, saying the same thing, that the reality on ground now does not even allow for a two-state solution because Netanyahu himself is a criminal wanted by his own justice system because he has a corruption case on him. He doesn't want to leave that seat, but he will drag and drag everybody into it until, you know, everybody dies in the process. So it's up to the Israeli people and the Americans to stop it because Iran apparently has the capacity to hit, and they did, because he went into the Iranian territory and killed a Hamas leader. He went to, you know, Gaza and started assassinating. Over 40,000 civilians have been killed, and up to now the objective is not achieved because he wants to root out Hamas and he could not. Let alone Hezbollah is 10 times bigger and stronger than Hamas. So this is like a vicious circle of violence and killings and murder that doesn't help anybody. Not the Israeli citizens, they are not, the kind of trauma probably they are going through. Every day, siren is going off. You go in, go out, go in. That itself is madness.
Abba Kaka, I want to say thank you so much for being a part of Signature Morning.
Thank you very much.
Well, we have a lot of conversations to still have on this table, but we'll have to bring you back because this is how far we can go with you this morning. We'll go for this break, and when we come back, Signature Morning continues in a moment. Please go nowhere.